body. At around 1 o'clock at night, I excused myself and left Master Belduke in his study. When I called him for breakfast in the morning, he did not respond. The door to his study was locked. A neighbor had come for a visit just then, so we forced the door open together. All the potions and other concoctions from the study have been confiscated. I wonder if they're being properly stored. Weird. Potions and concoctions were confiscated. The victim was an alchemist, after all. We were hoping the items confiscated from his study could provide some clues. Besides, such things must not fall into the wrong hands. It may not be standard practice, but it was deemed necessary. The confiscated goods are stored in our secret vault. The only person with access to them is the High Inquisitor, Lady Darklaw, and also anybody who can create portals on green walls. It has caused me great difficulty, as I have not been able to put Master's research materials in order as a result. The confiscated items shall be returned as soon as Sir Belduke's murder is resolved, so that the concoctions may then fall into the wrong hands. Pay attention! I shall be looking forward to that. Defense, you may begin the interrogation.
Hold it!
So you last saw him alive at 1 a.m., is that correct? Yes. Master had a habit of conducting his experiments at night, so it was the usual time for me to finish my work. Weren't you helping him with those experiments? He would sometimes have some errands for me, but alchemists generally keep their experiments a secret. That's why I would always excuse myself at that time, unless Master had some other tasks for me. And that night there was no more work for you? That's correct. I wished Master a good night as I shut the door behind me, and then I heard him lock the key. Lock the key? What? There was nothing unusual about him, at least nothing I noticed.
Hold it!
It's not enough to have a certificate of lawyery if you haven't realized you need a badge, and you need to present it to everyone you meet. What time was that? Master would always take his breakfast around 9 a.m., so it was around that time. So you didn't have the key to Sir Belduke's study, is that correct? Yes. There is only one key to that room, and Master always kept it with him. Master's research was a very delicate matter, you see. I don't see. We had to take strict measures to prevent outsiders from entering that room. Occasionally, delinquents would try to make off with one or another of Master's medicaments. Thieves stealing from an alchemist? I can't tell if that's incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Probably the latter. That's why the door to that room is made from thick oak wood. I wouldn't have been able to force the door open on my own. Your Cobalt 7-point star of lawyerdom. Objection. How many... Oh, I can't actually present my badge. Is this a real Phoenix Wright game? I don't think it is. Also, we haven't seen a stepladder yet. She couldn't have entered that room before that, then.
Hold it!
Wait, you mean you broke the door? The only key to that room was in Sir Belduke's pocket. The only way to enter the study was to break the door open. And you managed that with the help of a neighbor who came to visit? Yes. It wasn't a social visit, mind. He came as a patient. A patient? Can you tell me more about him? Dabbing splash! The victim's neighbor is irrelevant. He has nothing to do with this case. Ugh, I think you're pushing it this time. A witness is hardly irrelevant. Grr. Ugh. What's got him so shaken? He looks as if he just had a rush of blood to the head. Was he there? Master Belduke had been making very potent medicines, among other things. We would get people coming from the town at all hours of the day or night asking for them. And yet, in return for all the help Master offered, people would gossip about him dabbling in witchcraft. So you broke the door down together with a neighbor. Yes, when I explained the situation to him, he brought over an axe. He then proceeded to attack the door with great force, smashing it into splinters. I see. By the way, about that neighbor.
Hold it! It's time for Emir's grand entrance. Did you miss me, guys? Order! Could it be that it was you who... Where are you looking, old man? I'm right here. And as for who I am, I'm the alchemist's neighbor and a witness in that case too. Objection!
It's you, again. You're the guy from earlier, right?
Yep, that's me. Emir's the name. How have you been, Bluey?
Are you really the alchemist's neighbor? Seriously?
I know, right? I know, right? Freaky coincidence, eh? But yeah, his house is next to mine.
But why are you here? That's why I tried to stop you from asking about the neighbor.
Huh? Why so cold, Inquisitor Barnum?
And the musician standing next to you.
Oh yeah, it's me private bard, Birdley. A right musical genius.
Hold on. Oh, yari does a. Oh, yari does a. Well, no use shutting the stable door after the horse is bolted. Let us move on. Witness, since you're already here, you may as well add your testimony. Testify about what you witnessed on the morning after the crime. I didn't get to press on the last thing yet, did I?
It dawned on me then. The witch cast familiar, just like in this case.
Hold it!
Let me ask about these concoctions. And why is he there? He really is there. Go away. Those items you confiscated from 3 months ago, you haven't gotten them back? No, not a single thing. Even though many of those were personal items with no relevance to the crime. Now that I think about it, that room did look pretty empty. As I said, the victim was an alchemist, and among his possessions were some very dangerous concoctions. But he did produce medicines to aid sick townspeople as well, to give him his due. Indeed. Alchemy is highly beneficial to the townspeople, even if they fail to notice it. It may be beneficial, but it also inspires fear. People fear what they do not understand. At any rate, I cannot return the items to you until Sir Belduke's case is solved. That is what High Inquisitor Darklaw has decided. And the confiscated goods are being kept in a secret vault by the Knights of the Inquisition? Yes, but it has no relevance to this trial. Even the Inquisitors cannot freely enter that vault. It is strictly supervised. That's all I have to say, huh? I didn't really expect him to appear, but maybe I should be used to it by now. Excuse me, Mr. Wright. Sorry to interrupt your train of thought. Oh, that's okay. What is it? I'm wondering if it's just me, but I've been thinking about Mr. Emir's testimony. Well, I'm gonna press him. Okay, I'm gonna press him, though. Okay.
Hold it!
Can you tell me what caused that sudden realization?
Sure thing. When the Inquisitors came round, they went to have a little peek at the crime scene. That's when I heard them talking about it. I was surprised because they must have come to the same conclusion as me. Crikey, they can do their job, them Inquisitors, I thought. It had to be Famalia.
So he was eavesdropping.
If I happen to see that Famalia user, I'll arrest him myself.
Doop, doop, doop. Witness, you are testifying in court. Can you not restrain yourself a bit?
What's that? See, I gotta have this to keep my spirits up. It's the most potent medicine.
Go away. Anyway, this is a waste of time. I should be looking for decisive contradictions. Okay, so what do we have and what are we going to present? There's that. There's that. The heck is that? Somebody took great care to sketch an empty piece of floor where where there is no scepter, I guess. Is that the envelope with the no, I guess not necessarily. He was looking for the Triforce. Oh, this was a letter from Belduke to the storyteller. Okay, I missed what was in here. Stuff from Belduke to the storyteller. Storyteller opened it. There was only blank paper inside. Oh, you know what? I wonder if now that there's stupid witnesses here, if I have to press on the other things again and there will be reactions. I bet that's it. I am breezing through this testimony. This is still the first try. Alright, so we've already read this, but I need to see if anybody reacts to what she's saying now. Oh, so I think they changed this testimony now that we know it's him. This neighbor you mentioned, does he come by often? Well, yes, he does. Once every 2 days at least. Really? Mr. Amir, do you suffer from a serious illness?
Oh, yeah, kinda. In a manner of speaking. I can't believe I'm still alive, to be honest with you. I'm always drowsy, always hungry, and to top it off, nasty murders keep on occurring wherever I go. He's the detective! He's the Tante. He has the detective's... what do you call it? I'm sick and tired of listening to your babbling, so cut it right there. Excavius! You've been playing some 15? I haven't actually played 15, but I know of that meme. If I may express my personal opinion, I believe Mr. Amir has a truly remarkable ability to come up with different illnesses every day. Please don't come up with any more songs. How about if it's incineration? You could have rhymed with incineration. I would have known what you meant. That day, I thought I could use some delicious potion, so I went to see the alchemist.
Delicious potion? Ugh.
When I got there, I saw the butler was in a bit of a pickle. The study was locked, you see.
Then you went to get an axe and broke the door?
That's right. Always wanted to smash something with an axe. I get them kind of urges to destroy stuff, you see.
Now that sounds like something you should get treatment for. So wait, we still haven't... I mean, I guess I can present the staff, because we know that there was no Familia cast. Let's try that. Objection. There's something you don't seem to understand here, Mr. Amir. The Familia gem in this witch's scepter is a fake. The gem is useless. Just like this buffoon's testimony. Huh? Therefore, your testimony doesn't hold water. Just like anything else he says. Psh. What? 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 A fake? You should have listened to the trial more carefully. Incineration, it means to inflammation. Ah. Ah. In a sense. Now that has been dealt... Now that... You're missing a that. Now that has been dealt with. Right? Or does he mean now that has been dealt with? Inquisitor Barnum. This witch's scepter was not discovered at the crime scene when Sir Belduc was murdered. Is that correct? Indeed. We deduced that Familia must have been used, however. But that Familia magic gem was a fake. That much has been demonstrated today. What's more, as we've learned from Cracker the Parrot's testimony, the witch used the spell Godor. The fact that there's a green wall at the crime scene corroborates that. That wall may well not have been painted green 3 months ago. And besides, no one could have passed through a portal so small. Now that now has been dealt with. Now that now has been that dealt now. To be honest, I've started wondering, were Sir Layton's and Sir Belduc's murders actually committed by the same witch? Objection. Your Honor, I'd like to remind you that was the Inquisition's claim. Again, I was expecting another that. 2 that's. That. He's right, though. It's got to be the same culprit in both cases. And, at the very least, it's possible that the witch used the spell Godor to commit Sir Belduc's murder. What? In that case, I will ask the defense to show us proof. Do you have proof that the witch could have used Godor's spell to kill Sir Belduc? Really? What? What are they asking us here? I'm not... Do you have proof that the witch could have used Godor to kill Sir Belduc? Do they mean the little green splotch behind the painting? Because we've already said that was there, right? But we know it's very small. It's a small passage. Oh, I just realized this is a sketch of the powder. It's not immediately clear, but yeah, that's supposed to be. There's powder all over the floor. Okay. For lack of anything else, I'm going to try presenting this. Yes, okay. I don't get it, but this is the answer. I'd like you to take a look at these. Aren't those the court illustrator's sketches? As you can see from this sketch, the victim was seated at his desk when he was murdered. And what can you see right behind the victim? A small landscape painting. Thank you, Inquisitor, but there's one more point of note. Look closely at the painting. Do you notice anything behind it? Okay, so we're proving that there was paint on his side of the wall 3 months ago. Fine. Oh, I see it. The wall behind it had already been painted green. Which means the witch could have used the portal spell there 3 months ago. Aren't these black and white sketches? Okay, no, they're not. Why aren't these black and white sketches? Silly. One moment, my lord. Consider how small that portal would have been. Could a witch have passed through it? I think not. Of course, the witch would not have been able to go right through it. However, if you look at the distance between the portal and the victim, you'll notice that the victim, Sir Belduke, was sitting just an arm's length from where the portal would have been. The witch did not have to enter the room at all. All she had to do was reach through with her arms in order to strangle Sir Belduke, who was sitting right under the painting. Wouldn't it be trivially easy to, like, break out? Like, just go, ha, you're no longer strangling me. I am a full-grown man. You are a 7-year-old girl maid. Although also probably... Did Darklaw do it? Darklaw is involved somehow, because they name-dropped her when they were talking about the vault. Order. Inquisitor Barnum, what say you to that? A fascinating theory, Sir Blue Knight. But there is a notable contradiction within it. Where would that be? Tell me, why do you think we concluded that Familia had to have been used? We had a certain reason for it, of course. What was that reason exactly? The crime scene had been tampered with. How so? Imagine the circumstances of Sir Belduke's death and it should become obvious, even to you. Ooh. The victim was choked to death. And yet there were no signs of a struggle. Highly improbable, don't you think? What are you getting at? Think about it. Can you imagine anyone just sitting back and letting themselves be strangled? Clearly there should be evidence of a struggle. And since we haven't found any, that must mean the killer erased all traces of a fight from the crime scene. Indeed, that would be the logical conclusion. Now, surely it would be impossible to do any such thing had the witch only reached inside through a portal. In order to cover up the incidents she left behind, the witch had to have used a familiar. Without doing so, there would have been no point in her using the spell Godor. Miss Greyorl could have done it. She might have been able to tamper with the crime scene. What are you talking about? The morning of the crime. From the time Miss Greyorl and that guy entered the study until the arrival of the Knights of the Inquisition, there was a window of time in which she had the opportunity to do so. We need to look into what happened in that window. It seems we may be in need of another testimony. Witnesses, testify about what happened in the time between the body being found and the Knights of the Knights of the Inquisition arriving.
Sure thing. Ask me anything. I'll tell you all you need to know.
I didn't ask you anything. Really, this is a courtroom. You can't just come up here. Only 2 people access the crime scene between that, Greyorl and Emir, and yet there are 3 people on the witness stand. Believe it or not, Emir is the key witness in this case.
I broke down the door and saw the alchemist slumped in his chair. Gave me a jolt. Butler hurried to call the Knights of the Inquisition. He never entered the study. What did I do then? Oh yeah, I was asked to keep an eye on things, so I went in to have a bit of a look at everything. All that made me pretty drowsy, so I went and took a little nap on the couch.
Wait, what? Mr. Emir? You said the butler didn't enter the crime scene?
Yeah, he never set foot in there. Not even while I was unconscious. That's when I was watching the most carefully.
The moment he saw
Belduke, yes, he told me to stand guard until the Knights of the Inquisition arrived. And then off he went. What a resourceful apprentice that alchemist has, I thought to myself.
I almost feel sorry for you, Sir Blue Knight. After all, your suspect couldn't have tampered with the crime scene. That can't be true. Defense, please proceed with the interrogation. Yes, Your Honor. Let's go straight to the nap.
Hold it!
You took a nap in a room where a man had been murdered, with the body still in there.
I was so surprised, Blue. It was 9 a.m. I'm usually still half asleep at that hour. I suppose maybe all the merrymaking the night before added to that as well.
Saying, guess what? It rhymes. That makes it bad.
So yeah, I was kind of overcome with drowsiness. There was nothing I could do but go to sleep, right?
When the butler returned, accompanied by the two knights, he was supposedly sleeping noisily on the victim's couch. You mean he was snoring? Apparently, he was grinding his teeth. Erg, I shouldn't have asked. Why not? You're a lawyer. But then anyone could have tampered with the crime scene when Mr. Amir was asleep, right? Good catch, Luke.
Anyway, I'd barely caught a wink of sleep when those knights arrived. And my teeth grinding
What? Me teeth grinding has sort of a paralyzing effect on people? Is he a witch? Is he a woman?
Even if someone had come in, I don't think they'd been able to do much.
What does that even mean? He has the power to paralyze people by grinding his teeth. The magic I can believe, but this teeth grinding thing, suspension of disbelief is shattered. Grail didn't set foot in the study, but then that would mean it wasn't feasible for her to have tampered with the evidence at the crime scene. If that's the case, I guess we'd better look at other possibilities. At other possibilities, right, Mr. Wright? Yeah, unfortunately, it all hinges on Amir's testimony. But who knows what that guy might say next. I'd better treat him with extra care. Cross-examining him is like walking through a field of landmines. He just might be more dangerous than Barnum, or not. Let's gently press him into giving us some more information. I'll be as gentle as a lamb to make sure I don't get his goat. Puns! No, we'll try this one. Are you sure the butler didn't enter the crime scene?
Yeah, like I said, he didn't set foot in that room. I went in, sort of didn't know what to do, but the butler sussed out the situation in the blink of an eye. He told me to stand guard, and then he ran out.
She went to call the Knights of the Inquisition, is that correct? That's correct. I went to the nearby garrison. We have the records of when the crime was reported. They match the witness's testimony. I returned to Master Belduke's house with two knights. They began an investigation immediately, taking away Master's research materials and concoctions. In the end, I wasn't able to enter the room that day. There can be no doubt about it. As she is the alchemist's apprentice, she was under close observation following the incident. I wasn't aware of that. So in the end, she didn't have access to the crime scene at all on that day, huh? By the way, what were you doing at that time?
Huh? What? Me?
Hold it!
What were you having a look at?
Oh, well, I was asked to take care of the crime scene, wasn't I? So I had to, like, make sure everything was in order. I mean, you know. It's not like I went wild with excitement after being left in a real alchemist room full of mysterious stuff.
I'm sure you didn't, Mr. Sticky Fingers.
Besides,
Besides?
she asked me to look for something, so I was doing that too.
Hang on!
Ms. Earl Grey, you look lost in thought. Oh, were you talking to me? Even she can be caught off guard if I can choose the right moment. You have been listening to Mr. Amir's testimony, haven't you? Yes, I have. He was asked to look for something. It was you who asked him, I assume. What did you tell him to look for? I think you're mistaken. I don't remember making any request of that sort. Huh?
Oi, Bluey. Were you even listening to what I said? It was a lady that asked me. The butler is a guy, you numbskull. Hey. What's up? Why is everyone looking at me like that?
Quite a while ago. He's like, quite a while ago, practically at the beginning of this trial, which you have been attending all day long, we learned that the butler, Jean-Luc Picard T. Earl Grey Hot, is actually female. That's why, when you said a lady asked you to search for something, we assumed it was Ms. Grey Earl.
What? What? What the? Why didn't anyone tell me that before?
Do you require a personal notification? You should have been listening to the trial. Knights of the court, squabbling with a witness is most unseemly. What I would like to know now is this. Who was the lady that made the request of Amir?
Oh yeah, that was actually Miss...
He's absolutely certainly talking about me.
More people. Good. Yeah, I also caught the Jean Grey. Yeah, when we first met them.
And you are?
Oh, Letty, hang on a minute. I'll get down that post-haste.
Haha, post haste. I get it.
But
That was actually, if that was intentional, that was a good pun.
precisely.
Me? Who am I? I'm Letty Mailer. I'm the courier.
Also, haven't we established that everyone in this town knows each other, which is why it was suspicious that Layton didn't know anybody when he showed up? How could anybody not know Letty the Mailer? I mean, Letty Mailer. That's her last name. A courier is a person who collects and delivers letters or packages. Is this place just filled with people who interrupt trials? Yes. You see those guys in the back? Right there? They're going to interrupt too. People who interrupt trials and witches who leave them early. I know. Thanks anyway, Espella. I wish you'd stop misreading my mind. Hold on, Ms. Mailer. Do you mean it was you who irresponsibly made such a request to that troublemaker? Me? Maybe. Yes, I guess so. I asked him to help me find something. Outrageous! Why was I not informed of this? I guess no one told you. Maybe because you didn't ask. Grr! Ing! It seems we will need to ask you to testify, Miss Mailer. Explain to us how you were involved in this case. Frankly, I wouldn't say I was involved in anything. Now I'm in a tight spot. I bet it's because that guy said something weird about me.
Ease up on me, lady. Like the saying goes, if I'm going down, I'm taking you with me. Beats being in a pickle on your own, eh?
Now then, Ms. Letty Mailer, testify about that day. That voice could make windows shatter. Sir Belduke said he'd have a letter to send, so I came by to pick it up. Okay, we've seen the letter. Whoops. So now we know there was a third witness. A third witness, but a fourth freaking person on the witness stand, whom I hate. But Ms. Mailer only came to pick up a letter. That doesn't help us much, does it? Well, perhaps there's more to it than meets the eye. A letter, huh? Belduke was about to send a letter to someone before he was killed. It may not be relevant to this case, but something about that is bothering me. Maybe it's worth asking Letty about it.
Hold it!
You mean you came to pick up a letter from Sir Belduke? Yes, I was told, by Sir Belduke, that it'd be ready in the morning. What's more, he said it was extremely important. I felt a sense of duty surging within me.
Hang on!
Ms. Greyrol, I have a question. Yes, what is it? Did anything catch your attention during Ms. Mailer's statement? Nothing in particular, and at any rate, to begin with, I was not aware of the fact that the courier visited us that day. Ah, that's right, you weren't there when I arrived. And once I found the letter, I left immediately. Did you know about this letter, witness? I would never pry into Master's personal matters, such as his correspondence. Yeah, she's constantly just vomiting up letters every time she moves. Well, that should conclude the testimony. Alright, so let's press again without interruption.
Hold it!
Or did either the other two? No, it's just her. And so you visited Sir Belduke's dwelling the morning after he was murdered. I got a start when I arrived. The door was smashed in and that man was walking around with an axe rummaging about. As for Sir Belduke, he was slumped in his chair, and the butler was nowhere to be found. That brute's gone too far, I thought to myself. You can see why, right? Of course. Naturally. In your place, I'd have thought so myself.
That's mean.
Anyway, I spoke with him, and he told me what happened, so that's when I asked him to help me. You asked him to look for something? Yes, the letter. I asked him to search for the letter. But in the end, the guy passed out on the couch. I found the letter myself. Then I delivered it. You actually delivered the letter? That's commitment, all right. About that letter. Who, in the name of the noble author, was it addressed to? I can't tell you that. Sorry. Couriers can't disclose that sort of info. Couriers have a confidentiality obligation. No one wants to have the addresses of their letters made public, after all. We're really doing this? I have personally never sent a letter that I would need to keep secret from the public. Don't look at me like that. I was talking about public opinion on the matter, not my own. Belduke was about to send an important letter when he was killed. That letter, it kind of rings a bell. It's just a hunch, and it might not have anything to do with this case, but I need to make sure. I need to know more about Belduke's letter. Witness. Huh? Me? What's up? The letter Sir Belduke asked you to deliver on that day. Was it my badge?
Take that!
The letter you found that morning. Was it, by chance, this one here? Yes, that's the one. But wait, how did you get it? You're a piece of work, all right.
Objection!
Hold it, Sir Blue Knight. How did you come by that letter? It just sort of fell into my lap, so to speak. It was the professor who found it, but he doesn't need to know that. Defender, just what in the world are the contents of that letter? Well, the letter's blank. What? All this fuss over a blank letter? As you can see, there are some sheets of parchment inside the envelope. Indeed. And there's not a trace of ink on them. What is the meaning of this? Don't forget that Sir Belduc was an alchemist. He may have used some kind of invisible ink to write that letter. Indeed. About that, it doesn't make sense to me. What? Ms. Mailer? The thing is, when I saw that letter, all the pages were full of writing, so, you know.
Objection!
You looked at them? Hold it, witness. You saw the contents of Sir Belduc's letter? I didn't read it, it's just that you say... It was sealed! It had a wax seal on it. Witness, this is an important matter. You will need to testify about it. Tell us what you know about this letter. Please. That night, probably about 1 a.m., I made a delivery to Sir Belduc. He was writing a letter at the time. It'll be ready soon, so come pick it up tomorrow morning, is what he said. I left his study and wished the butler a good night. Then I went home. I went there again the next morning, as promised. Sir Belduc was... Well, anyway, I looked for the letter. Then, that guy went out like a light on the couch. I got a little scared, so I left as soon as I found the letter. I see. So you witnessed the victim write the letter. I wouldn't say witness. That sounds so legal. The sheets of parchment were on his desk, though. I saw that. And they were covered in writing, margin to margin. But you don't know what the letter was about. Telling you would be a breach of our privacy policy. I can't reveal its contents, or who it was addressed to. Oh, of course, I understand. Frankly, I didn't get close enough, to Sir Belduc's desk, I mean, so I couldn't make out what he was writing. In any case, where did you find the letter the morning after the victim was found dead? On a shelf, next to his desk, in a small letterbox. Ah, yes, right there, next to his head. I was a teeny little bit scared, though, coming so close to a dead man. So that's where she took the letter from. It was right next to the corpse, huh? I understand. No, wait, this is a courtroom. I don't want to use the word witness. It sounds so legal. Now that the circumstances are clear, we shall proceed to the cross-examination. So, how is the letter still there in the sketch? Wait. Mail deliveries at 1 a.m.? How weird. This isn't going to be part of a court case, but that's pretty late to be making a delivery. Look, he's an alchemist. He gets loads of strange packages, that's why. He'd often order various implements from the glass craftsman or have someone gather wild herbs for him. He usually carried out his experiments at night, so yeah, he often needed items delivered in the middle of the night. Did Sir Belduc seem at all different than normal when you saw him that night? Different? Let me think. Actually, yes. I think it was about 3 days before Sir Belduc's death, I mean, that lightning strike.
Hang on!
Excuse me, Miss Earl Grey. What is it? Did anything catch your attention? Just the lightning strike. Master Belduc did certainly change following that event. I wonder why it affected him so much. An alchemist and the sudden appearance of an old bell tower. Could there be some sort of a connection between them? Dots. Anyway, it looks like Grey Earl is as much in the dark about this as I am. By the way, that strange lightning strike was not the result of witchcraft. I see. Wait, what was that statement out of nowhere? By the way, when a tower appears out of thin air, it's not witches.
Hold it!
Press on this again to see the whole thing. Lightning strike? Ah, yes. The sky was clear, and then there was a flash of lightning. Out of nowhere, an old bell tower appeared, in flames. Ah, yes, that certainly was an unusual event. They all seem so calm about it. A tower suddenly materializing in the town is more than just an unusual event, right? I had a delivery for Sir Belduke that evening, too. He looked terrified that night, as if he was scared of something. What could he have been afraid of? Was it because of the lightning strike? I was wondering about that too, but well, then that incident happened. I guess he died before she could find out any more. Wait, if a tower showed up that was on fire, did it time travel from the time of the Great Fire? Probably. Probably time travel. I suggest we get back to discussing the night of the crime. Witness, you arrived at Sir Belduke's residence. What happened then? Alright, don't care about that. Don't care about that. Oops.
Hold it!
And she says she found the letter, but we have sketches showing undisturbed powder on the floor and the letter being there in the letterbox. He went out like a light. He was helping me look for the letter, and then it happened, out of the blue. He just passed out, the rascal. He collapsed, and his eyes rolled back. He wouldn't move. It almost sounds like he died. Now you're holding an owl towards me? Thank you. No such luck, unfortunately. That horrible sound. He was grating his teeth. I thought my ears would explode.
Yep, not sure what came over me. Never happened to me before, sleeping like that. You know, I didn't just fall asleep. More like I just sort of blacked out, I guess. No idea why. Oh, you guys, what do you think? Any ideas?
I think it bears no relevance, and there you have my honest answer. And I think it's good that I wasn't there. But the question is, why did he black out like that? We don't know anything about, like, a sleep spell, do we? Really odd, even for that guy, to just suddenly fall unconscious, but I don't think I have any evidence to show. Maybe later. Yep. To me, it looks like he's demanding I find the answer right this second. Alright, so we got the little hint from them that, more information. If we dig a little deeper, we'll find out why he would, instantly fall asleep. Maybe the powder on the floor was sleeping powder.
Hold it!
You took the letter from the crime scene? That's right. I took it from the crime scene.
Objection!
Do you not realize that pinching evidence from the crime scene is itself a crime worthy of severe punishment? Well, it might be a crime, sure, but just look at the witch's defender. He's got to defend a witch, using any dirty tricks at his disposal. What? Dirty tricks? What dirty tricks? It's the same for me, you know? I'm a courier, so come rain or shine, I've got to deliver. Where there's mail, there's mailer.
I was so inspired by the young lady's spirit that I kinda just had to help.
You did not have to chime in. Worse than Clown Fiesta. It is entirely my fault that it came to that. Had I only been at the residence then. Ugh. Blarg! Has anyone ever we've seen lots of ngs and hns and ergs. I don't think I've seen a blarg until now. Grayor was out notifying the knights at the time. Wait a minute. When you say the butler, you mean... Miss Grey Earl, of course. She was in the corridor, carrying a tray. I'm not going to let her interrupt this time. I actually quite like the butler. Is it really true she's a girl? It's a bit disappointing, to me at least. Oh! I'm sorry, I was unable to meet your expectations. I'm not sure I want to know about her expectations. In any case, Miss Mailer did visit us that night. She came to deliver a package to Master Belduke. She delivered it to Master personally. There were always many things to which I was not privy. Right, and I saw you that night. When I saw you leaving, I almost walked into you. Yes, it's just as you say. I was about to wish Master Belduke a good night. Greyoll looks a lot more confident now. She seemed so shaken a moment ago. Alright, so I do actually need... Whatever happened there was important.
Hold it!
All of the other cut-ins have been just pointless.
Hang on!
Ms. Grey Earl, I'd like to ask you something. Oh, certainly. What is it? You stated previously that you excused yourself and left Sir Belduke's study shortly after 1 a.m. Yes, that is correct. However, according to Ms. Mailer's testimony, the two of you came across each other while you were waiting outside that room. Why didn't you mention that until now? That's because... I apologize. I'm afraid I completely forgot to mention it. You forgot? Miss Mailer very often comes with deliveries during the night. I did see her that night as well, but I didn't think much of it, as it's nothing unusual. I had no reason to hide that from you. Please, forgive me for the confusion. Well, that kind of thing can happen. No human memory is in no way perfect. I don't imagine there's a problem here, is there? On the contrary, Your Honor. There's one more thing Ms. Grey Earl forgot to mention. What is it? I'd like you to recall what Ms. Mailer said about having met Ms. Grey Earl that night. She was in the corridor carrying a tray. Well, Ms. Grey Earl? Apparently, you were carrying a tray at the time. What do you have to say about that? I don't get it. Jean T. Earl Grey Hot, I believe you should add that to your testimony. As you wish, my lord. It's unlikely she really forgot about it. The fact she tried to hide it must mean something. Alright, so we're just bluffing.
Hold it!
His usual drink of poison. When Master's experiments continued into the late hours, he would always have some juice to ward off sleepiness. Is this grape juice? Is this the bottles of grape juice that Phoenix Wright keeps next to his piano during the Apollo Justice case? What kind of juice? Non-alcoholic, of course. Tomato juice.
Hang on!
Excuse me, mister. Castrol motor oil. For some reason, we're stuck on oil. Or you are. Mister.
Blah! I know nothing about it. Nothing at all.
Dabbing jab. Witness, what have you done this time?
Don't give me that scary look, Inquisitor Barnum. It was just a little bit. Seriously. Hardly anything at all.
What are you talking about?
Huh? What do you think I'm talking about? The juice. The tomato juice, of course.
Tomato juice. Oh, you didn't. Surely even you wouldn't.
Well, like I told you before, I think I sort of overdid it the previous night. When I woke up, my head was pounding. That's why I went to see the alchemist. But you know what happened. When I was left alone in the alchemist's study, it kind of caught me eye. The bottle, I mean. The non-alcoholic tomato juice. I thought it might make the headache go away, you know.
So you drank it? The juice found at the crime scene?
Well, why shouldn't I? It's a drink, ain't it? What else do you do with a drink? You drink it, right?
And can you tell us where that bottle is now? Come to think of it, I don't remember seeing it at the crime scene. It has been confiscated. Confiscated? As I mentioned previously, the occult crime analyst confiscated all of Master's personal belongings from the crime scene. Is that so? Well, I believe we should take note of that bottle and add it to the court record.
Yeah, so there I was, having a bit of non-alcoholic tomato juice when that girl came around. Tell you the truth, I don't quite remember what happened after that.
That's when he passed out, huh? Oh. So now we go.
Hold it!
Your Honor, I might have a clue as to why this witness suddenly lost consciousness. You do?
Really? Did you work it out, Bluey?
If that's the case, may the defense present some evidence. Which piece of evidence shows why this man fell unconscious? Justice Hammer number 2. This was a Justice Hammer the whole time.